The cameras were rolling, the lights were blinding, and everyone thought it would be just another day on set. But within seconds, the air turned heavy, and what started as a simple scene spiraled into an all-out war. Rasheeda, the veteran queen who has fought through scandals, betrayals, and public humiliation, stood face-to-face with Kendra, the fiery newcomer determined to prove she's more than just young Jock's wife. Voices clashed, tempers exploded, and before the producers could even step in, chaos erupted. Crew members froze, extras scrambled, and whispers filled the stage. Did Rasheeda really just say that to Kendra? This wasn't scripted. This wasn't planned. This was real heat, real anger, and real tension boiling over in front of the cameras. Eyewitnesses say Rasheeda slammed her hand on the table so hard the microphones rattled, while Kendra shot back with words sharp enough to slice through the silence. Fans watching the leaked clip online couldn't believe their eyes, flooding social media with comments like, "I've never seen Rasheeda lose it like this," and Kendra stood 10 toes down. She wasn't backing off. The fight grew so intense that production had no choice but to yell, "Cut," and shut everything down. For the first time in years, filming came to a complete halt, leaving everyone in shock. The crew didn't know whether to comfort the cast or to grab their phones and record the meltdown of the season. Was this the moment that broke Love and Hip Hop Atlanta forever? Or was it just the beginning of a new, blood-boiling feud that will leave families, friendships, and alliances in ashes? Viewers around the world are asking the same question. How did Rasheeda and Kendra's tension build to this point? And what happens next now that the gloves are officially off? The drama is only getting started. The set had been buzzing since morning, but the tension was different this time. From the moment Rasheeda walked in, her heels clicking sharp against the studio floor, people could sense she was carrying a storm inside her. Kendra was already seated, looking flawless in her fitted dress, scrolling through her phone as if she owned the place. The crew exchanged looks, everyone aware that these two women had been building silent tension for weeks. The whispers in the corners weren't about the scene they were about to shoot. They were about whether today would finally be the day when the tension snapped. The cameras rolled. The director clapped his hands. And just like that, a scene that should have been simple turned into a battlefield. At first, the words were calm, measured, even polite. Rasheeda kept her voice low, but the bite in her tone was clear. "You know what, Kendra? I've been holding back for too long." Kendra smirked, tilting her head in that way that always made people wonder if she was mocking or just unbothered. "Girl, please, don't start with me today. I'm not in the mood." That was all it took. A spark. The crew felt it like electricity. Rasheeda leaned forward, her hand on the table, eyes locked directly on Kendra. "Don't talk to me like I'm one of these young girls who just got here. I built this. You hear me? I built this." Kendra shot back instantly, her voice rising as the crew members gasped. "Built what? A storyline off your husband's mistakes? That's not a legacy. That's a pity party." The words hit Rasheeda like a blade. Her lips tightened, her nails tapped hard against the table, and even the director froze. Nobody expected Kendra to go there. Not so fast, not so raw. A murmur ran across the set, cameras zooming in tighter, knowing they were capturing something too explosive to miss. Rasheeda's voice cracked, but it wasn't from weakness, it was rage boiling over. "You better watch your mouth, little girl, because you don't know the half of what I've been through." The energy shifted, heavy and electric, as Kendra leaned back in her chair, smirking wider. "Oh, I know enough. Everybody knows. Kirk embarrassed you for years, and you still sat pretty, pretending everything was fine. Don't come at me like you're strong when the truth is, you've been weak." The crew gasped louder this time. Even young Jock, who had been standing near the monitors, rushed forward with his hands up. "Kendra, chill out. Man, don't do this." But it was too late. Rasheeda slammed her hand down so hard the mics cracked, and she stood up, towering over Kendra, her voice shaking with fury. "Weak? You think I'm weak? Let's see if you can survive half of what I've been through without falling apart." The set was no longer a set, it was a war zone. Extras backed away, crew members dropped their gear, and producers scrambled to step in. The director shouted, "Cut," but nobody listened. Kendra stood up too, facing Rasheeda head-on, her voice sharp and defiant. "I'm not afraid of you, Rasheeda. You've had your time. You've had your crown. But right now, you're old news. You're not the queen anymore, and you know it." Rasheeda's face twisted with a mix of shock and rage. "You think you can come in here and disrespect me? In my city, on my set?" Kendra fired back without missing a beat. "Your city, your set, baby. This isn't yours anymore. Atlanta belongs to the ones bold enough to take it, and that's me now." Fans who later saw leaked footage online couldn't believe the rawness of it. The clip spread like wildfire, Hashtags exploding within hours. Hashtag Team Rasheeda. Hashtag Team Kendra. Hashtag on set war. Emotions ran high on every platform. Some fans cheered Kendra for finally calling Rasheeda out, while others couldn't believe anyone would dare disrespect the woman who had carried the show on her back for years. The family was left divided, too. Kirk Frost tried to step in, tugging at Rasheeda's arm, whispering for her to calm down, but she snatched her arm away. "Don't touch me, Kirk. This is between me and her." Meanwhile, Jock pulled Kendra aside, but she shook him off, pointing a finger right back at Rasheeda. "You can glare at me all you want, but you can't change the truth. Your reign is over." The crew couldn't contain it anymore. Some begged the women to stop, while others stood frozen, too stunned to intervene. Cameras kept rolling, every moment immortalized. Production assistants whispered about shutting the set down, and finally, the head producer stepped forward, waving his hands wildly. "Enough. Everybody out. We're done for today." But even as the order rang out, neither woman moved. Rasheeda stepped closer, her voice low, almost shaking with the weight of years of pain. "You don't know the battles I've fought. You don't know what it's like to have everyone waiting for you to break, and still standing strong." Kendra laughed bitterly. Strong, or desperate to hold on to a spotlight that doesn't want you anymore? That was the moment everything collapsed. Rasheeda lunged forward, not physically attacking but invading Kendra's space so close the crew thought it was about to get physical. Jock grabbed Kendra's waist. Kirk held Rasheeda back, and chaos thundered across the room. Emotions ran so high that for the first time in love and hip-hop history, production made the call to halt the entire shoot indefinitely. Phones rang, producers shouted into walkie-talkies, and security rushed in to separate the two women. Outside the set, rumors spread faster than wildfire. Fans lined up online to replay the leaked clip, dissecting every word, every expression. Some said Rasheeda had finally cracked under the weight of years of betrayal and public humiliation. Others believed Kendra had crossed a line by dragging Kirk's infidelity into the fight. The city of Atlanta itself seemed to vibrate with gossip. From salons to nightclubs to Instagram lives, everyone had a side, and everyone had something to say. But inside, after the chaos settled, Rasheeda sat down with tears in her eyes, whispering to herself, "They think I'm done. Watch me." Kendra, on the other side of the room, fixed her hair, looked straight at the cameras still rolling, and smirked. "Let them talk. I'm just getting started." And just like that, the war wasn't just between two women anymore. It was about to consume families, friendships, and the entire production. The halt was only the beginning. The real battle was just getting started. Rasheeda was pacing back and forth in her dressing room, her heels clicking against the hardwood floor, her breathing heavy, and her eyes red with the kind of fury that only years of bottled-up pain could unleash. Kirk stood in the corner, silent, not daring to say a word. He had seen Rasheeda angry before, but this was different. This wasn't the kind of anger that faded after a few minutes. This was the kind that carved itself deep into the walls of a room, filling it with fire. She turned to him, her voice sharp. "You just stood there. You let her talk to me." Sharp. "You just stood there. You let her talk to me. Like that? Kirk. You let her disrespect me in front of everybody." Kirk raised his hands, trying to calm her. "Rasheeda, I tried. I pulled you back, didn't I? I told you to chill. What else was I supposed to do?" She shook her head, tears forming but not falling. "You were supposed to defend me, not just as your wife, but as the woman who's been holding this whole family together. Instead, you let her humiliate me." On the other side of the set, Kendra was surrounded by her own storm. Jock was furious, whispering harshly as he tried to get her to calm down. "You went too far, Kendra. Do you know what you just started? This ain't just a little spat. You blew the whole set up." Kendra smirked, touching up her lip gloss in the mirror as if nothing happened. "Good. Let it blow up. People are tired of the same old fake drama. They want something real. I gave them real." Jock groaned, running his hand over his head. "Real? Girl, you dragged Rasheeda's whole marriage on camera. That ain't just real. That's nuclear. Now the whole world is gonna take sides. And you know how fans get when they ride for Rasheeda." The producers were huddled in a corner, voices low but frantic. One of them whispered, "If this leaks the way it's already leaking, we might not be able to finish the season. This could shut us down." Another shook his head. "Or it could save us. Look at the numbers already. Twitter is blowing up. Instagram Live is non-stop. People are saying this is the biggest fight in reality TV history." The head producer frowned, rubbing his temples. Biggest fight or biggest disaster? We'll see. Meanwhile, fans outside the drama were eating every second of it. In barbershops, beauty salons, and nightclubs all across Atlanta, the only topic on people's lips was Rasheeda versus Kendra. One woman on Instagram Live said, "Rasheeda held it down for years, and she's still standing strong. Don't come for her crown unless you're ready to lose." Another fan, siding with Kendra, shouted into his phone, "Nah, Kendra said what needed to be said. Rasheeda's been quiet for too long, and somebody had to call her out." The battle lines were drawn, and the city was split in two. Back inside, Rasheeda finally sat down, her hands shaking as she stared at herself in the mirror. She whispered, almost to herself, "They think I'm finished. They think I'm weak. No, I've survived worse. I'll survive this too." Kirk approached cautiously, knowing any wrong word could spark another explosion. "Baby, listen, maybe this is a chance for you to remind everybody who you are. Don't let her get under your skin. You're Rasheeda, you're the boss." Rasheeda turned slowly, her voice low and dangerous. Then she's about to find out what happens when you play with the boss. At the same time, Kendra was doubling down. She pulled out her phone, went live on Instagram, and within seconds, thousands of fans tuned in. Her smile was wide, her tone confident. "Yeah, I said what I said. I don't regret nothing." Rasheeda been acting like she untouchable, like she's still the queen. But the truth is, Atlanta has new voices now, and I'm one of them. So if she got a problem, she can come find me. The comments section exploded. Some fans cheered, others called her reckless. But everyone agreed on one thing: the drama was reaching levels nobody could have predicted. Jock tried to snatch the phone away, but Kendra pulled back, laughing. "Nah, let them hear it. The world deserves to know how I feel." Jock's voice cracked with frustration. "Kendra, you don't know what you just did. This ain't just TV anymore. This is personal. This is families. This is alliances. And once it's out there, you can't take it back." But Kendra only leaned closer to the camera, her words sharp. "Good, because I don't want to take it back." Outside the production building, paparazzi were already gathering, tipped off by leaks. Flashes lit up the parking lot as Rasheeda stormed out, Kirk trailing behind her. Reporters shouted questions. "Rasheeda, did Kendra disrespect you on set? Are you leaving the show? Is this the end of Love and Hip Hop Atlanta as we know it?" Rasheeda ignored them, her face set, but the tension in her walk said everything. Kirk shielded her as best he could, but the cameras caught it all. Later that night, blogs went wild. Headlines screamed Rasheeda and Kendra on-set war halts production. Kendra calls Rasheeda weak in explosive fight. Fans divided as Atlanta Queens clash. Clips of the fight were replayed millions of times, each one dissected like evidence in a trial. Twitter threads broke down every expression, every word. And fans debated endlessly about who was right and who was wrong. But the story was far from over, because, as the city buzzed with gossip, and as fans chose sides, both women were plotting their next move. Rasheeda was making calls, rallying her allies, determined to remind the world why she was the face of the franchise. Kendra, meanwhile, was basking in the spotlight, already preparing to use the moment to cement herself as Atlanta's new voice. The battle wasn't cooling down, it was only just beginning, and everyone knew the next clash would be even bigger, louder, and more destructive. And when it happened, the whole world would be watching. The next morning, Atlanta woke up to a storm louder than thunder. Social media was on fire. Every blog, every gossip page, every podcast talking about nothing but Rasheeda and Kendra. The leaked clip had gone viral overnight, hitting millions of views before the sun even rose. Hashtags trended worldwide, with fans tearing each other apart in the comments. "Team Rasheeda forever. She earned her crown," one fan posted, while another clapped back instantly. "Nope, Kendra just exposed what everybody was thinking. Rasheeda's time is done." The divide wasn't just online. Even industry insiders were chiming in. Rappers, influencers, and other reality stars choosing sides like it was a war they couldn't escape. Rasheeda, still reeling from the chaos, sat in her kitchen, sipping coffee with shaky hands. Her phone kept buzzing nonstop. Her DMs flooded with messages of support, but also plenty of hate. Kirk sat across from her, scrolling through headlines, shaking his head. "This is crazy, Sheeda. They acting like y'all threw punches when it was just words." Rasheeda glared at him over the rim of her cup. "Just words. She disrespected me in front of everybody. Kirk, in front of cameras, crew, the world. You think I'm gonna let that slide?" Kirk sighed, leaning back in his chair. "Nah, but you can't let her drag you down. If you keep feeding into it, she wins. You gotta move smart." Rasheeda slammed her cup down, the sound sharp against the counter. "No, Kirk. This time, I'm not just moving smart, I'm moving big." Meanwhile, Kendra was loving every second of the attention. She and Jock sat in their living room, phones propped up in front of them as they scrolled through the chaos. Kendra laughed out loud at a meme of Rasheeda looking furious on set. "Look at this. Jock, they already making gifs of her losing it. I told you this was going to blow up." Jock wasn't laughing. His face was tight, his voice low. "Baby, this ain't funny. You don't understand how far this is going. Producers are talking about shutting down the season. You could ruin everything for all of us." Kendra rolled her eyes, tossing her hair. "Or I could save it. People ain't been this hyped about love and hip-hop in years. They're talking about me, about us. This is my moment." But behind the camera-ready smiles, cracks were forming. Jock rubbed his temples, his patience wearing thin. "You keep talking about your moment, but what about the fallout? What about our family? You think Rasheeda's just gonna sit back and let this slide? You started a war, Kendra, and wars don't end clean." Kendra leaned closer, her eyes burning with determination. "Then let her come for me. I'm ready." Production offices were a madhouse. Meetings dragged on for hours. Producers arguing over whether to let the feud play out or shut it down before it got dangerous. One executive slammed his hand on the table. "This is gold. People are glued to their screens. Ratings will skyrocket if we ride this wave." Another shot back angrily. "Gold. It's a liability. What happens if they actually come to blows? If somebody gets hurt? This isn't just TV anymore. It's real." In the end, they reached a shaky compromise. Filming would resume, but with added security, and every scene involving Rasheeda and Kendra would be tightly controlled. When word reached the cast, reactions were mixed. Carly Red, always eager to stir the pot, called Rasheeda immediately. "Girl, I saw that clip. Hugh. Chilly. You went off. Listen, don't let her steal your shine. We gotta get together. Plot something. Make sure the world knows you still run this." Rasheeda sighed, exhausted but grateful. "Thanks, Carly. I needed to hear that, because right now, it feels like everybody's against me." Carly lowered her voice, almost gleeful. "Not everybody, baby. You still got your army. And trust me, they ready to ride." At the same time, Kendra was on FaceTime with Bambi, who couldn't stop laughing. "Sis, you shook the table for real. I'm still hollering at the way you called her weak. Everybody been thinking it, but you said it. That's power." Kendra smirked, basking in the praise. "Exactly. I'm not here to play nice. I'm here to be real. And if that means stepping on toes, then so be it." But beneath the laughter and bravado, everyone knew the next time Rasheeda and Kendra were in the same room, sparks would fly again. The set wasn't just a workplace anymore. It was a battlefield, and the crew braced themselves for the inevitable explosion. The following week, filming resumed. Extra security guards were stationed on set, their eyes constantly scanning for signs of trouble. The tension was suffocating, everyone waiting for the smallest spark to ignite the fire again. Rasheeda walked in with her chin high, her outfit sharp, her energy radiating dominance. Kendra arrived minutes later, her heels clicking, her smile wide, but her eyes locked straight on Rasheeda. They didn't speak at first, but the silence was louder than any argument. The director called action, but the scene didn't matter. What mattered was the unspoken war playing out in every glare, every smirk, every subtle move. Fans would later describe it as watching two lions circle each other, waiting for the perfect moment to pounce. And when it finally happened, when Rasheeda opened her mouth and said, "You really think you can replace me?" the entire room held its breath. Kendra leaned forward, her words like fire. "Replace you? No, baby. One already have." The set erupted again. Rasheeda's eyes went wide, her chest rising and falling with anger. The weight of Kendra's words pressing down like a knife to her pride. Kirk shifted nervously in the corner, sensing that if someone didn't intervene right away, history was about to repeat itself. But this time, it wouldn't just be words. It was deeper, it was raw, and it was dangerous. The crew froze in place, sound guys gripping their booms tighter, makeup artists ducking behind tables, and security leaning forward with tense eyes. The energy in the room was so thick you could hear it humming. Rasheeda stepped closer, her heels striking the floor like gunshots. "Listen here, little girl," she hissed, her voice trembling with rage but steady enough to slice through the silence. "You ain't replacing me. I've been holding this down for over a decade. I bled for this, cried for this, lost for this, and you think you can waltz in with your fake crown and snatch what I built? You better wake up." Kendra tilted her head, smiling cruelly. "See? That's the problem. You think you built it, but what you built was a prison. You let Kirk lock you in it, and you called it success. Me, I'm free. I say what I want, I do what I want, and I don't need no man to validate me." The words landed heavy. Kirk flinched as if the spotlight suddenly burned hotter on him. Jock muttered under his breath, trying to distract Kendra, but she waved him off. Rasheeda let out a bitter laugh, but there was no humor in it. Free? Baby, you ain't free. You're reckless. And reckless gets people hurt. Keep running your mouth, and you'll find out the hard way. The crew's whispers became louder, like waves crashing in the background. One producer muttered, "This is gold," while another whispered, "This is going too far." Cameras zoomed tighter, faces capturing every drop of sweat, every twitch, every glare. Suddenly, a voice from behind broke the tension. It was Carly Red, barging onto the set uninvited, her eyes wide with excitement. "Oh my God, I cannot believe I'm seeing this in person. Y'all about to kill each other, but let me just say, I'm team whoever keeps it real. Period." She laughed, but nobody else did. Instead, her presence fueled the fire. Kendra turned on her, rolling her eyes. "Girl, go sit down. This ain't your moment." Carly gasped, putting a hand on her chest. "Oh, so now you coming for me too? See Rasheeda, this is what I mean. She has no respect for the ones who paved the way." Rasheeda smirked, almost grateful for the backup. But Kendra's sharp response cut through again. "Paved the way. Y'all paved a messy road full of scandals and lies. And now you mad because I ain't scared to say it out loud." The room felt like it tilted. The tension pulled everyone tighter, as if gravity itself had shifted. Kirk finally spoke, his voice desperate. "Enough. Both of y'all. This ain't worth tearing each other apart." But Rasheeda turned on him, her voice cracking. "Don't you dare tell me to calm down. She's been coming for me since day one. And you just stood there. You always just stand there." Kirk swallowed hard, guilt spreading across his face. Jock tried to grab Kendra's hand, whispering, "Baby, let's just walk out. It ain't worth it." But Kendra pulled away, locking eyes with Rasheeda. "No. I'm not leaving. Not until she admits the truth. Not until she admits that she's not untouchable anymore." The silence that followed was deafening. Rasheeda stared at her, her face trembling with rage and heartbreak, as if every betrayal and every insult she'd endured was boiling over in that moment. Then, slowly, she leaned forward, her words almost a whisper but loud enough for everyone to hear. "You want the truth. The truth is, you'll never be me. You'll never have what I have. You'll never last." Gasps filled the room. Some crew members clutched their mouths. Others muttered prayers under their breath. Kendra froze, her smile fading for the first time, but only for a second. Then she squared her shoulders, smirk returning like a shield. "Maybe I don't want to be you. Maybe I want to be the one who finally takes you down." At that moment, security stepped in, separating the women before it turned physical. The director shouted, "Cut, cut, cut," but it was too late. The damage was done. The footage already existed, and the world was going to see it. Later that evening, the clip leaked again, this time longer. Uncut, raw. Fans dissected it like evidence in a courtroom. Some said Rasheeda had finally met her match, while others swore Kendra had gone too far and would pay for it. Blogs screamed headlines, "Rasheeda versus Kendra. The war that shut down love and hip-hop Atlanta." Talk shows replayed the footage on loop. Celebrities weighed in, some defending Rasheeda, others praising Kendra for being bold. At home, Rasheeda sat on the edge of her bed, scrolling through her phone, watching her legacy debated like it was a game. Kirk tried to comfort her, but she shoved his hand away. "No, Kirk, I'm not broken. Not this time. I'm about to show them who I really am." Across town, Kendra poured herself a glass of champagne, smirking as her phone lit up with new followers, new deals, new offers. "Let them talk," she whispered. "I already won." But neither of them realized the storm they had unleashed was bigger than both of them. Families were choosing sides, alliances within the cast were cracking, and producers were plotting how to turn this chaos into ratings gold. The war wasn't ending, it was only escalating, and everyone knew the next blow would be harder, louder, and unforgettable. Days passed, but the fire didn't cool down. It spread wider. Atlanta was still buzzing, every corner of the city alive with debates, arguments, and speculation. At the beauty salon, women sat under dryers yelling at each other over who won the showdown. In barbershops, men pulled out their phones, replaying the clips frame by frame. In clubs, DJs cut the music just to shout into the mic, "Team Rasheeda" or "Team Kendra," and the crowd erupted, split right down the middle. It wasn't just TV drama anymore. It had turned into a citywide civil war of opinions. Producers knew they couldn't let this energy die. They called an emergency meeting. Everyone gathered around a long table. "Watch this. Somebody about to snap today." Bambi smirked. "I got my money on Rasheeda. She too quiet lately." Quiet ones always explode. The director yelled action, but the scene collapsed almost instantly. Rasheeda and Kendra couldn't even sit across from each other without trading insults. Rasheeda leaned forward, her tone icy. "You love running your mouth, but all you running on is borrowed time." Kendra fired back, smirking. "And you running on fumes. Face it, Rasheeda, your era is over." Voices overlapped. Cast members tried to calm them, but the storm couldn't be stopped. Kirk finally snapped, slamming his fist on the table. "Enough. I'm sick of this back and forth." Everyone froze. It wasn't often Kirk raised his voice. Rasheeda turned on him, eyes blazing. "Sick of it? You're the reason half this mess even started. If you'd kept it together years ago, I wouldn't even be fighting to hold on to my respect right now." Kirk's face fell, guilt written all over him. Jock jumped in, trying to shield Kendra. "Man, y'all not about to gang up on my wife." Kendra pushed past him, pointing directly at Rasheeda. "This ain't about Kirk. This ain't about Jock. This is about me and you. And I'm done playing nice. You keep calling yourself a boss, but I'm here to show you what a real boss looks like." The room erupted. Cast members shouted over each other. Chairs screeched across the floor. Security rushed in before it turned physical. Producers threw their hands up, screaming cut. But the cameras kept rolling, capturing every raw second. Outside the set, word spread fast. Rumors claimed fists were thrown. Others said someone fainted from the stress, though none of it was confirmed. But the chaos only made fans hungrier. YouTube breakdowns, Instagram lives, TikTok edits, every platform overflowed with content dissecting the feud. Rasheeda sat in her car afterward, her hands gripping the steering wheel, tears brimming but refusing to fall. "They think I'm done," she whispered to herself. "But I'm about to remind everybody who the hell I am." Across town, Kendra popped champagne with her friends, laughing. "Let them hate. Hate means I'm winning." The war lines were now etched in stone, and everyone knew the next encounter wouldn't just be explosive, it might tear the entire franchise apart. The fallout was bigger than anyone imagined. By the weekend, Atlanta felt like the epicenter of a cultural earthquake. The blogs were dropping updates by the hour, each headline more dramatic than the last. Production halted again after Rasheeda and Kendra face-off turns chaotic. One read, another screamed. Cast divided as alliances shift in explosive feud. Fans were glued to their screens, dissecting every facial expression, every line of dialogue, and every rumor spilling from anonymous crew members who couldn't keep quiet. Rasheeda tried to maintain her composure in public, but behind closed doors, the pain was showing. She sat in her closet surrounded by clothes and shoes, the very symbols of her empire. But they suddenly felt like props in a show she no longer controlled. Her phone buzzed non-stop, some messages from fans telling her to stand tall, others mocking her, calling her outdated. Kirk lingered in the doorway, hesitant to step inside. "Sheeda," he said softly, "don't let this break you." She didn't even look up, her voice sharp. "Break me? No, Kirk. I'm already broken, but broken things can be rebuilt, stronger." Kendra, on the other hand, was thriving off the chaos. She went live again, wine glass in hand, her followers climbing into the tens of thousands. "Y'all keep saying I disrespected Rasheeda," she said, smirking into the camera. "But how can you disrespect somebody who let herself get disrespected for years? I just told the truth." The comments blew up instantly. "Queen energy," one fan wrote, while another spat, "You're gonna regret this, Kendra. Rasheeda's not the one to play with." Jock hovered in the background, visibly uncomfortable, but Kendra thrived under the heat, every insult fueling her fire. The cast was being forced to choose sides, whether they wanted to or not. Bambi called Rasheeda, offering support. "Sis, you know I got you." She out of line, and everybody sees it. Meanwhile, Carly Red, ever the opportunist, posted a cryptic Instagram story with laughing emojis, tagging both women, which only poured gasoline on the flames. Scrappy told Jock privately, "Bro, I love you, but your wife just made a whole lot of enemies, and I'm not sure you're ready for that smoke." The producers held another emergency meeting. The head of the network joined in this time, his tone clipped and serious. "This feud is making headlines everywhere. The ratings potential is off the charts. But if this goes too far, we're looking at lawsuits, injuries, or worse. So here's what we do. We stage a sit-down. Cameras rolling. Controlled environment. They face each other, no interruptions. We give the audience the showdown they want, but we keep it safe." The room went silent before one producer whispered, "Safe? There's nothing safe about putting Rasheeda and Kendra in the same room right now." But the decision was made. When Rasheeda got the call, she clenched her jaw, her voice steady. "Set it up, I'll be there." Across town, when Kendra heard the news, she laughed. "Perfect. Let's settle this once and for all, Jock groaned, rubbing his temples. Settle it, girl. This ain't gonna settle nothing. It's gonna blow everything wide open. The day of the sit-down came, and tension was so thick you could feel it in the air before either woman walked in. The crew whispered nervously, extra security lining the walls. Rasheeda arrived first, wearing black from head to toe, her face unreadable, her aura heavy with quiet power. Minutes later, Kendra strutted in, bright colors, hair flawless, her smile sharp like a blade. They sat across from each other. The cameras zoomed in, the director counting down quietly. Action. The silence stretched long, both women staring, neither willing to blink first. Finally, Rasheeda leaned forward, her voice calm but cutting. You wanted my attention, Kendra, now you got it. So tell me what's really your problem. Kendra didn't hesitate. My problem is that you've been holding onto a crown that don't fit you anymore. You walk around like you're untouchable, but your story's old, it's played out. And it's time somebody said it to your face. Rasheeda's laugh was low, humorless. Played out. Baby, my story is survival. My story is strength. I've been through hell and back, and I'm still here. That's not played out, that's power. And the fact that you think you can erase me with a couple of slick words shows how naive you are. The room grew colder. Every eye locked on them. Kendra smirked, leaning back. Naive. No, baby. Bold. And that's why people are talking about me right now. Not you. Me. Rasheeda's eyes narrowed, her voice dropping lower. They're talking about you today, but tomorrow? They'll forget you, because you don't have the strength to last. I've built an empire. What have you built? Kendra's smile faltered for the first time, but only briefly. She shot back. Maybe I'm not building an empire. Maybe I'm tearing one down. Yours. The crew gasped. Kirk shifted uncomfortably in his chair. Jock muttered, Lord have mercy. The standoff stretched tighter, the war of words sharper, and for the first time, both women realized this wasn't just about insults anymore. This was about legacy, about pride, about survival, and there was no turning back. The sit-down ended with no resolution, just more fire, more fuel. Producers shut off the cameras, shaking their heads. One whispered, this ain't the end. This is the beginning of something bigger. And they were right, because by nightfall, the clips leaked again, and the internet erupted louder than ever before. Rasheeda versus Kendra wasn't just a feud anymore. It was a phenomenon. The next morning, the city was buzzing like never before. Bloggers, gossip pages, even mainstream outlets had picked up the story of the sit-down, blasting headlines like Rasheeda versus Kendra, no peace in sight, and Atlanta divided as reality queens clash. Twitter was a battlefield. Fans posting side-by-side screenshots of Rasheeda's icy stare and Kendra's smug grin, arguing about who won the moment. Hashtags trended worldwide, spilling beyond Atlanta into New York, Los Angeles, and even overseas. This wasn't just a show feud anymore, it had become pop culture currency. Rasheeda woke up to the chaos flooding her phone, her notifications endless. She sat at the edge of her bed, scrolling through messages from celebrities she barely even knew. Some offered support, others warned her to watch her back. Kirk tried to hand her breakfast, but she pushed the plate away, her voice tight. I don't want food. I want a plan. She's trying to take everything from me. Kirk. And I'll be damned if I let her win. Kirk, weary but loyal, placed a hand on her shoulder. Then let's make the next move. Don't wait for her to strike. You strike first. Let's make the next move. Don't wait for her to strike. You strike first. Across town, Kendra basked in the glow of newfound attention. Her phone lit up with offers, club appearances, interviews, even brand deals. She grinned at Jock, waving her phone in his face. Look, baby, they want me on podcasts, talk shows, everything. This is what I was talking about. This is my time. Jock, however, wasn't celebrating. He looked her dead in the eyes, his tone heavy. Your time, Kendra. This ain't fame. This is fire. And if you keep feeding it, it's gonna burn everything down. You, me, us. Kendra brushed him off, sipping her mimosa. Sometimes you gotta let it burn to build something better. The cast felt the tremors too. Bambi texted Rasheeda, girl, we riding with you no matter what. Scrappy, torn in the middle, told Jock, I don't want no parts of this. Bro, but I ain't gonna lie. People saying this beef saving the show. Carly read, never missing a chance to stir drama. Posted a cryptic Instagram caption, queens don't fight for crowns, they already got them, tagging both women. Within minutes, fans flooded the comments, interpreting it as shade at Kendra, while others swore Carly was mocking Rasheeda. The network smelled opportunity. Executives decided to push the feud to the forefront of the season, crafting entire storylines around it. They staged more group scenes, strategically placing Rasheeda and Kendra across from each other, hoping for explosions. And the explosions came. Every glance turned into a glare, every word into a dagger. One night at a cast dinner, tensions finally reached the boiling point again. The table was filled with laughter and chatter until Rasheeda walked in, her aura commanding silence. She sat down directly across from Kendra, who smiled sweetly but venomously. Drinks flowed, food was served, but everyone knew the real meal was the showdown brewing between the two women. Rasheeda broke the silence first, her tone calm but sharp. "You enjoying your 15 minutes?" Kendra leaned forward, smirking. "Oh, I'm enjoying every second. And unlike you, I don't need to cry to the world about how hard my life's been just to stay relevant." Gasps erupted from the table. Kirk immediately bristled, ready to defend his wife, but Rasheeda raised a hand, silencing him. Her voice was low. "Dangerous. You think pain makes me weak. Pain made me strong. You wouldn't last a week living the life I've lived. You wouldn't survive the betrayals, the headlines, the shame. But me, I survived. And I built an empire on top of it." Kendra's smirk wavered for a split second, but she quickly recovered. "Empire, please. Your empire is crumbling, and I'm the one standing on the rubble. The fans want me now. You're just yesterday's news." The room erupted in chaos. Bambi shouted at Kendra, "You out of line," while Carly egged it on, yelling, "Oh my god, this is iconic." Scrappy tried to calm everyone down, but it was useless. Glasses clinked, chairs scraped, voices rose until the producers had no choice but to yell cut, and shut it all down again. Later that night, the uncut footage leaked again. Fans replayed the dinner scene a million times over, dissecting every smirk, every comeback. YouTube breakdowns labeled it Rasheeda versus Kendra, round 3. Memes flooded the internet. Some fans laughed at Kendra's boldness, others praised Rasheeda's strength. But everyone agreed, this feud was bigger than anything love and hip-hop had delivered in years. Back at home, Rasheeda sat in her living room with Kirk, her jaw clenched, her mind racing. "She thinks she's breaking me, but all she's doing is reminding me of what I'm capable of." Kirk looked at her, hesitant but supportive. "So what's your next move?" Rasheeda's eyes narrowed, a spark of determination returning. War. She wanted war. Now she's gonna get it. And somewhere across the city, Kendra raised a toast with her friends, her laughter echoing through the night. "Let her come. I'm ready." The battle wasn't cooling, it was escalating into something epic, something unstoppable, and the fans, they couldn't get enough. By the next week, the feud had swallowed everything. No one cared about side storylines. No one cared about other cast members' drama. It was all about Rasheeda versus Kendra. Producers leaned into it hard, cutting promos with slow emotion shots of Rasheeda glaring, Kendra smirking, Kirk sweating, and Jock pacing nervously. The taglines were blunt: "To Queens, one throne." Fans went wild, flooding comment sections with predictions of who would come out on top. Rasheeda knew she couldn't just sit back anymore. She called a meeting at her boutique, inviting Bambi, Sierra, and even Carly, who she didn't always trust. She stood in the middle of the shop, her arms folded, her tone firm. "Listen, this ain't just about me and her anymore. This is about respect. If Kendra can come in and disrespect me, then none of us are safe. If she takes me down, she'll come for all of y'all next." Bambi nodded, arms crossed. "You right. She got too bold too fast." Sierra chimed in. "She got fans now, but fans turn quick. One wrong move, and she's done." Carly smirked, sipping her coffee. "Baby, I'm just here for the mess. But you know I got your back. As long as you don't forget who's been loyal." Rasheeda shot her a look, but let it slide. Across town, Kendra was plotting too. She gathered her circle, Jock, Bambi's old rival Erica Dixon, and a few new faces who wanted in on the spotlight. Kendra's voice was fierce, her eyes blazing. "They think I'm scared of Rasheeda. Please. She built her brand off suffering, and I'm not about to bow to that. I'm coming for her spot, and anyone who don't like it can move out the way." Jock muttered under his breath, "This ain't gonna end well." But Kendra ignored him. The network decided to film both meetings, editing them into a split-screen teaser. Fans lost their minds when the promo dropped. Comments poured in. "This is giving Game of Thrones vibes. Nah, Rasheeda got the army, but Kendra got the fire. This season about to break records." The next group scene was staged at a lounge, a neutral spot, but there was nothing neutral about the energy. Rasheeda walked in first with her crew, her presence commanding the room. Minutes later, Kendra arrived with hers, her chin high, her smile daring. The air was thick enough to choke on. The producers tried to get them to sit at the same table, but that was impossible. Instead, they sat across the lounge, exchanging glares so sharp they could have cut glass. Carly, never one to waste an opportunity, shouted across the room. So what's it gonna be? Ladies, are we throwing hands tonight, or are we talking it out? Laughter and gasps filled the air, and the tension snapped like a wire. Rasheeda stood, her voice firm but shaking with rage. I don't need to fight her, I just need to remind her who she's dealing with. She began walking toward Kendra's table, the cameras following every step. Kirk reached for her arm, whispering, "Don't do this." But she brushed him off. Kendra rose to meet her, her heels clicking against the floor. The lounge went silent. Two women, face to face again, the entire cast holding their breath. "You wanted me here, Kendra," Rasheeda said, her tone icy. "So, here I am. Tell me again to my face that I'm weak." Kendra smirked, leaning in so close, their noses nearly touched. "You're weak. And you're finished." Gasps exploded around the room. Security braced for chaos. Kirk shouted, "Stop this." But the moment had already burned into history. Rasheeda didn't swing, but her eyes said everything. This wasn't over. Not by a long shot. The clip leaked again, uncut and raw. Within hours, it had millions of views. Fans dissected the body language, slowing down the footage, pointing out how Rasheeda's hands clenched, how Kendra didn't flinch. Some said Rasheeda showed restraint, others said Kendra showed dominance. But one thing everyone agreed on: this feud had gone beyond entertainment. It was personal. It was war. And it was only going to get darker from here. That night, Rasheeda posted a cryptic message on Instagram. "Don't mistake my silence for weakness. I move in silence, but I strike loud." Kendra responded minutes later with her own post. "When the crown is too heavy, it's time for someone else to wear it." The internet erupted again, fans screenshotting, reposting, and choosing sides harder than ever. Alliances within the cast grew shakier, families were pulled deeper into the crossfire, and the producers, they knew they had struck gold. And as the cameras kept rolling, everyone whispered the same thing: if this was just the beginning, how far would Rasheeda and Kendra go to win? The reunion fallout didn't end when the cameras cut. The moment Rasheeda walked off stage declaring her freedom, the internet turned it into a cultural earthquake. Clips flooded every platform, celebrities reposted her speech, talk shows dissected her words. Fans who once doubted her resilience now called her an icon. Within 24 hours, #ImFree had over 2 million uses across social media. Memes of her walking off stage in her white suit became a digital rallying cry for women everywhere who felt stuck in toxic relationships. But while Rasheeda was being celebrated, Kirk was drowning. Bloggers reported he locked himself in his house for days, refusing to answer calls. Producers leaked that he was spiraling, unable to face the public humiliation of being dumped on national TV. One insider revealed, he kept saying, "She really left me, she really gone." He didn't believe she would ever do it. Sponsorship deals pulled out. He didn't believe she would ever do it. Sponsorship deals pulled out. Business partners distanced themselves. For years, Kirk had relied on Rasheeda's strength to keep his image clean, and now that she walked away, he was stripped bare. Jasmine thought she would ride the wave of attention, but it backfired. She posted a video the next morning, smirking, saying, "You all saw it. She finally left him 'cause of me. I told y'all I wasn't lying." But instead of applause, the comments turned vicious. Fans called her pathetic for celebrating the breakup of a family. "Girl, you not the winner." One comment with 50K likes read, "Rasheeda walked away stronger. Kirk fell apart, and you just exposed yourself as the problem." Jasmine clapped back, blocking people left and right, but the damage was done. Rasheeda, meanwhile, doubled down on her independence. She launched a new campaign for her boutique called Rebirth, featuring powerful imagery of her standing alone, unapologetic. The clothes sold out in hours, and fans flooded her comments saying they bought just to support her. She booked interviews, appearing on The Breakfast Club, where she told Charlemagne and Angela Yee, "This ain't about revenge. This is about showing women you don't have to stay anywhere you don't feel valued. I built this life, and I'm going to keep building with or without a man." The clip went viral, Charlemagne nodding with respect as fans hailed her the voice of empowerment. Carly read, always the messy instigator, tried to capitalize on the situation. She went live, sipping wine, saying, "Listen, I've been telling y'all, Jasmine, messy, but Rasheeda, whoo, that girl handled it like a boss. I might throw her a party just to celebrate her freedom." The comments dragged Carly for inserting herself, but they couldn't deny the truth. Rasheeda owned the moment. Jasmine wasn't ready to give up though. She teased another recording, posting, "Y'all ain't heard nothing yet." Fans rolled their eyes, tired of her games. Even her supporters started turning on her. "Girl, it's over. She already won. Stop trying. One wrote, Jasmine's desperation grew more obvious when she tried to leak alleged photos of her and Kirk from months ago, but fans dismissed them, saying they were old, irrelevant, and a desperate attempt to stay in the spotlight. The Frost kids, especially Kai, finally spoke publicly. In a heartfelt post, he wrote, My parents went through a lot. I'm proud of my mom for standing strong, and I hope people let us heal. Family is complicated, but love is forever. The post got thousands of shares, and fans praised him for maturity beyond his years. It shifted the narrative further. This wasn't just entertainment. It was a family fighting to rebuild after public humiliation. Producers of Love and Hip Hop smelled more ratings gold. They planned a spin-off special, Rasheeda, Rebirth. It would follow her journey post-divorce, showing how she balanced motherhood, business, and reclaiming her identity. The announcement blew up, fans flooding MTV's page with excitement. Give us the Rasheeda show only. Leave Kirk and Jasmine in the trash. One fan commented with thousands of likes. As filming began, cameras captured Rasheeda hosting empowerment events, speaking to women about strength, and even hinting at new music. She hadn't released anything in years, but she teased fans with a studio clip, captioned, Sometimes pain makes the best art. The speculation of a comeback album sent fans into a frenzy. Jasmine, now feeling sidelined, grew bitter. She went on a rant during a live, yelling, Y'all acting like Rasheeda, perfect. She knew Kirk was cheating. She stayed for the money. And now she wanna act like she better than me. But instead of claps, she got laughed at. Memes mocked her for being obsessed with Rasheeda. Fans saying, She can't breathe without Rasheeda's name in her mouth. Her follower count began dropping. Brand deals disappeared. And suddenly she wasn't the villain fans loved to watch, she was just the desperate ex-side chick, clinging to relevance. The true turning point came weeks later when Rasheeda filed official divorce papers. TMZ broke the news first. Rasheeda Frost officially files for divorce from Kirk Frost after explosive scandal. The details leaked: she was asking for majority control of their businesses, full custody of the kids, and the marital home. Fans screamed online, calling it the ultimate power move. Kirk, blindsided, reportedly begged her not to go through with it, but Rasheeda stood firm. At the court hearing, paparazzi swarmed as Rasheeda walked in with her head high, dressed in a sharp black suit. Kirk shuffled behind her, looking defeated, while Jasmine wasn't even allowed in the building. Outside, fans chanted Rasheeda's name, holding signs like We Love You Queen and Team Rebirth. When the hearing ended, Rasheeda walked out smiling, and blogs wrote, The Queen leaves with everything. Jasmine tried one last desperate stunt. She staged her own live outside a club, claiming Kirk had been with her the night before, but fans didn't buy it. No photos, no proof, just her word. And at that point, her word meant nothing. The comments were brutal, people telling her, Girl, give it up. The world moved on. Jasmine ended the live in tears, and for the first time, people saw her not as the bold truth-teller, but as the one who lost everything by chasing clout. Rasheeda, on the other hand, flourished. Her boutique expanded. She booked speaking engagements nationwide, and her music teaser turned into a full single that shot up streaming charts. Fans called it an anthem, dedicated to every woman leaving a toxic relationship. MTV promoted her heavily, plastering her face on billboards with the slogan, Rebirth, the Rasheeda story. And Kirk. He faded quietly. No deals, no spotlight, just a man whose choices finally caught up to him. Rumors swirled he was trying to reconcile with his kids, but in the public eye, he was done. The saga had started with Jasmine's insult. Nobody likes you, not even Kirk. But by the end, it backfired spectacularly, because while Jasmine tried to destroy her, Rasheeda turned the insult into power, flipping the narrative, owning her truth, and leaving both Kirk and Jasmine in the ashes. The legacy of that reunion lived on, not just as reality TV drama, but as a cultural reset. Fans still quote Rasheeda's words, I'm free, using it to celebrate their own breakups, job resignations, or personal victories. What began as humiliation ended as triumph. And Jasmine, she became the cautionary tale of what happens when you mistake chaos for power. And so the story didn't just end, it transformed. Rasheeda wasn't the wife defined by Kirk's scandals anymore. She wasn't the woman crying in her boutique. She was the woman who walked away in white, declaring freedom, and the world never stopped applauding. Within days, the charity event footage had spiraled into something no one could contain. Gossip blogs posted frame-by-frame breakdowns, fans uploaded reaction videos, and hashtags like hashtag RASHEEDAVS Kendra and hashtag Queen of Atlanta trended worldwide. Celebrities outside the show started weighing in: rappers, influencers, Even reality stars from other franchises. Some sided with Rasheeda, calling her the blueprint, while others praised Kendra as the future face of Atlanta. It wasn't just a feud anymore. It was a cultural debate. The network executives held yet another late-night emergency meeting. Ratings were higher than they'd been in years, advertisers were suddenly lining up, and social media metrics were breaking records. But behind all the excitement was a nervous edge. One executive slammed her pen on the table. "This isn't just good TV, it's volatile. What happens if it gets physical? What if it crosses the line?" The head producer leaned back, smirking. "It already crossed the line, and that's why everybody's watching. This is lightning in a bottle, and we're not putting the lid back on." Rasheeda, meanwhile, was plotting her counterstrike. Sitting in her boutique with Carly Red and Bambi, she spread her phone across the table, showing them screenshots of Kendra's lives, her interviews, her posts. She thinks she's winning because people talking, but talking don't mean respect. Talking don't mean longevity. "I built this city's narrative. I put blood, sweat, and tears into this brand. I'll remind her that you can't erase history." Bambi nodded firmly. "Sis, you need to stop being on defense. Let's take her crown before she even fits it." Carly, sipping her drink, smirked. "Ooh, I like this. We need a plan that's messy, dramatic, and unforgettable." Rasheeda's eyes narrowed. "Oh, trust me, she won't see it coming." On the other side of town, Kendra was glowing with attention. Every move she made, every outfit, every word trended online. She sat with Jock, scrolling through offers. "Look baby, they want me headlining an event next month. Me, not Rasheeda. Me." Jock frowned, leaning forward. "Kend, listen to me. You think this is all wins, but it's getting dangerous. People out there dragging your name just as hard as they praising it. This ain't sustainable." Kendra waved him off. "Let them drag me. Drag means attention, and attention is power." Jock sighed, muttering, "Power don't mean peace." But she ignored him, already planning her next live. The producers engineered another collision, this time at a high-profile launch party filmed for the show. Both women were invited, both knew the other would be there, and neither backed down. The venue glittered with chandeliers, cameras tucked in every corner, but the glamour didn't mask the tension. Rasheeda arrived in silver, her aura regal and unshakable. Kendra walked in later, dressed in fire red again, her smile sharp as ever. The crowd immediately buzzed, phones lifted high, the air crackling with anticipation. They avoided each other at first. Crackling with anticipation, they avoided each other at first, mingling with different groups, but the magnetic pull was too strong. Carly, ever the instigator, accidentally brought them face to face near the bar. "Oh, look at this," she drawled, eyes wide with fake innocence. "Two queens in one place. Atlanta can barely handle it." The room hushed. Rasheeda set her glass down slowly, turning to Kendra. "You wanted the spotlight. Congratulations. You got it? But let me tell you something, spotlights burn. And when they move on, you'll be left in the dark." Kendra tilted her head, smirk curling. "Funny, because I don't see no light shining on you anymore. Maybe that's why you pressed. Your time's up." "Rasheeda," gasps rippled through the crowd. Kirk stepped forward, but Rasheeda shot him a look that froze him in place. "Pressed? Baby, I don't press. I command. I lead. I inspire. Something you wouldn't understand because all you know how to do is tear people down." Kendra's laugh was sharp, echoing across the venue. "Inspire? You inspired pity. You inspired people to feel sorry for you. But me, I inspire power. I inspire people to speak up. That's why they ride for me now." The crowd erupted, fans screaming, cast members trying to step between them, but the energy was volcanic. Suddenly, drinks spilled, voices clashed, and the entire party descended into chaos. Security rushed in, dragging the women apart before it got physical. Cameras caught every second. The footage leaked within hours. Clips hit every platform, slowed down, remixed, captioned. Memes painted Rasheeda as the seasoned queen fighting to keep her throne, and Kendra as the bold challenger, unafraid of consequences. Debates raged hotter than ever, fans picking apart every syllable, every glare. That night, back at home, Rasheeda sat in silence, scrolling through endless comments, her jaw tight. Finally, she whispered to herself, "She wants to play with fire. Then I'll give her flames she can't handle." Kirk, sitting across from her, didn't argue this time. He simply nodded. And across town, Kendra celebrated with friends, clinking glasses, shouting over the music. "She can't touch me. I already won." But even as she laughed, there was a flicker in her eyes, a glimpse that maybe, just maybe, she realized this war was growing bigger than she ever imagined. And the question hanging in the air for everyone watching was clear. If things were this explosive now, what would happen when one of them finally snapped? The launch party chaos had barely cooled when the internet pushed it into overdrive. News outlets replayed the clips on loop, podcasts dissected every glare and insult, and Twitter was a battlefield of memes, threads, and think pieces. One viral tweet read, "This ain't just reality TV. This is Atlanta history in the making." Another shot back, "Nah, this is messy and dangerous. Somebody gon' get hurt." Rasheeda spent the next morning at home, scrolling through the storm. Her kids begged her to ignore it, but she couldn't. Every word Kendra had thrown at her replayed in her mind like a song she couldn't turn off. Kirk sat nearby, silent, watching her face harden. Finally, Rasheeda slammed her phone down and stood up. "I'm not about to let this girl define me. I've survived cheating scandals. I've survived betrayal. I've survived humiliation. And I'll survive this too." But she's not walking away untouched. She's about to learn. Kirk swallowed, choosing his words carefully. "Then don't just talk about it, Sheeda. Show her, but make it smart, not sloppy. She wants you to blow up. Don't give her what she wants." Meanwhile, Kendra basked in the spotlight. She had cameras following her for behind-the-scenes footage, makeup artists fussing over her, and a brand new deal with a streaming podcast. "See this," she told Jock, waving the contract. "They want me, not Rasheeda me. She can keep her boutiques. I'm building a voice." Jock leaned against the counter, his face heavy with worry. "Kend, I'm proud of you, but I need you to hear me. This ain't a game anymore. You're poking at a woman who's been fighting battles longer than you've been in the spotlight. She's not gonna just bow out. She's gonna strike back." Kendra smirked, sipping her wine. "Then let her. I don't run from battles. I run through them." Production couldn't resist pushing the feud further. They staged another group scene, this time at a cast brunch. The tension was unbearable even before filming started. Everyone kept glancing nervously between Rasheeda and Kendra, whispering to each other about who would snap first. When the cameras rolled, it didn't take long. Rasheeda walked in, flawless in a crisp white outfit, her aura calm but lethal. Kendra was already at the table, wearing bold colors, her smile wide and mocking. The air tightened the moment their eyes met. The brunch began light, small talk, laughter, mimosas, but it was all fake. The storm broke when Kendra raised her glass and said loudly, "Cheers to the new generation. The ones who aren't afraid to speak the truth and take their place at the table." Rasheeda leaned forward, her smile gone. "Take a place at the table. Sweetie, you're sitting at my table. Don't get it twisted." The table erupted with gasps. Kirk tried to reach for her hand, but Rasheeda pulled it back, her voice sharper now. "You think just because people are screaming your name today, you've arrived. Baby, fame is fast. It'll lift you up quick, but it'll drop you just as fast. And when it does, I'll still be standing here." Kendra smirked, tilting her head. "And I'll still be standing on top of you." The brunch spiraled. Voices overlapped. Bambi shouting at Kendra, Scrappy trying to calm everyone, Carly egging it on with exaggerated gasps. Food spilled. Drinks toppled. Security rushed in again. The producers yelled cut, but the cameras kept rolling because they knew this chaos was pure gold. Later that night, uncut clips surfaced online once again. Fans debated furiously, some praising Rasheeda for standing firm, others claiming Kendra had stolen the scene. Hashtags trended again, new memes emerged, and the cast grew even more divided. Back in her bedroom, Rasheeda stared at herself in the mirror, whispering, "I've fought too hard to lose now." Kirk watched from the doorway, his voice low. "Then fight smart, Sheeda. Don't just win the moment, win the war." Across town, Kendra live-streamed to her followers, her grin radiant. "They keep saying I'm reckless, but look at me. I'm still here, I'm still shining, and I'm not going anywhere." Her followers spammed the chat with fire emojis, chanting her name. The feud had grown too big to contain. It wasn't just a storyline anymore, it was survival, and both women knew the next clash would decide everything. The brunch fiasco sent shockwaves through the city. Fans replayed the clips endlessly, and even those who hadn't watched Love and Hip Hop in years were suddenly tuned back in, desperate to see what would happen next. Atlanta wasn't just talking about the feud, it was living in it. From hair salons to hookah lounges, people argued over who was right, who was wrong, and who would ultimately win the crown. The network, seeing the frenzy, leaned in even harder. They called a press conference disguised as a cast panel, inviting media, fans, and influencers. The goal was to repair the show's image. But everyone knew what the real draw was: getting Rasheeda and Kendra on the same stage, unfiltered. Rasheeda arrived first, dressed in deep emerald green, her expression cold but composed. Flashes from cameras lit up as she stepped onto the stage, her presence commanding. Kendra arrived minutes later in a striking crimson suit, her smile sharp, her eyes locked directly on Rasheeda. The audience buzzed with electricity. Sensing a collision, the panel started with safe questions about music, family, business, but tension boiled just beneath the surface. Then, a reporter asked the question everyone was waiting for. Rasheeda, do you feel Kendra has disrespected your legacy? Rasheeda leaned forward, her tone even but heavy. Legacy isn't something you can disrespect. It's written in stone. I've built mine brick by brick. What bothers me is when people mistake noise for substance. Being loud doesn't make you a queen. Gasps filled the room. All eyes turned to Kendra. She didn't miss a beat. Substance. Please, your legacy is built on being humiliated over and over while you smiled for the cameras. That's not strength. That's survival on scraps. I'm not surviving. I'm thriving. The room exploded with shouts and murmurs. Journalists leaned forward, hungry for more. Carly, sitting off to the side, fanned herself dramatically, whispering laud. Here we go again. Rasheeda's voice rose, sharper now. Thriving, baby, you're thriving off my name. Off the path I paved. Without me, there wouldn't even be a you on this stage. Kendra laughed bitterly, the sound echoing across the hall. Nah, without Kirk's scandals there wouldn't be a you on this stage. Let's keep it real. The audience gasped so loudly it felt like the room shook. Kirk shifted uncomfortably, his face tight, while Rasheeda's jaw clenched, her hand, his face tight, while Rasheeda's jaw clenched, her hand, gripping the armrest of her chair. Before it could go further, the moderator tried to move on, but the energy had already cracked open. Rasheeda stood, pointing directly at Kendra. You better watch how you speak on my family. You crossed enough lines already, but this one's too far. Kendra stood face to face with Rasheeda, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper that the microphones still caught. Then do something about it. Security rushed to step between them as the audience screamed. Phones raised high to capture the moment. The panel ended in chaos. Reporters shouting questions, flashes blinding the stage, cast members scattering. Later that night, the uncut panel footage hit the internet, spreading faster than wildfire. Fans debated relentlessly. One tweet with millions of views read, Kendra just dragged Kirk into it. Rasheeda ain't never gonna forgive that. Another countered, Rasheeda keeps threatening but not delivering. Kendra already won. Back home, Rasheeda sat with Kirk, shaking with anger. She can drag me all day, but dragging you? Dragging my family. That's war. Kirk rubbed his face, exhausted. Sheeda, I told you she don't stop until someone shuts her down. So you better decide. Are you ending this? Or letting her end you? Across the city, Kendra celebrated again, sipping champagne with Jock. She looked pressed. Did you see her face? She's cracking. Jock, she's cracking. And the fans see it. Jock leaned back, worry clouding his eyes. Kend, you keep pushing her like this. She might actually snap. And when she does, I don't know if anybody can put that genie back in the bottle. The feud was no longer just drama for TV. It had become a war of legacies, a battle of pride. And with the entire world watching, the next clash promised to be the most explosive yet. The morning after the panel, Atlanta felt like it was living inside a soap opera. The radio shows were buzzing, DJs playing soundbites from Rasheeda and Kendra on repeat. Talk show hosts debated the feud like it was politics. Callers phoned in, some swearing Rasheeda was the unshakable queen, others crowning Kendra as the new voice of the city. It was no longer just gossip, it had become a cultural fault line. Rasheeda locked herself away in her boutique, her phone glued to her hand. She scrolled through the comments, jaw tight, eyes sharp. Every insult cut deep, but every message of support fueled her fire. She whispered to herself, they think I'm gonna fall. No. I've been through worse and I'm still standing. This time, I'm not just standing, I'm fighting. Kirk, hovering in the doorway, sighed. Sheeda, I know you want to win this, but don't let it eat you alive. Don't let her drag you down to her level. Rasheeda shot him a look, her voice firm. Kirk, she dragged you into it. It's already personal. So now it's war. Across the city, Kendra was glowing. She sat at a glam session with her hair and makeup team, scrolling through her phone, laughing at memes that painted Rasheeda as shaken and broken. Look at this, she cackled, holding up the screen. They got her face frozen viral again. I told y'all, this is my moment. Jock sat slumped on the couch, shaking his head. Kend, you don't get it. Every time you win a headline, you make a bigger enemy out of her. She's not like the others. She's not gonna let this slide. You keep poking. She gonna strike hand hard. Kendra smirked, applying lip gloss. Good, I want her too. That's what makes legends. The producers weren't blind to the firestorm. In a private meeting, they tossed around their next big idea, a face-to-face sit-down special. No cast around, just Rasheeda and Kendra. Cameras rolling. We package it, promote it, stream it live. People will eat it up, one said. Another producer shook his head nervously. Liv, you out your mind. If they snap, we can't cut it. That could ruin us. But the execs smelled money. It's risky, the head producer said. But this is bigger than TV now. This is history. If they're willing, we do it. When Rasheeda got the call, she didn't hesitate. Set it up, I'm ready. When Kendra was asked, she smirked. Tell Rasheeda to bring her best. I'll bring mine. The announcement broke the internet. Rasheeda versus Kendra, the sit-down streaming live. Fans went insane. Comments flooded in. This about to be bigger than Mayweather versus Pacquiao. Nah, this is Ali versus Frazier energy. Atlanta about to shut down to watch this. Hashtags trended before the promo even aired. The night of the sit-down, the tension was unbearable. The set was minimal. 2 chairs, a table between them, cameras on every angle, security on standby. Fans around the world tuned in. Millions watching live. Rasheeda arrived in all black, her energy cold, her stare cutting. Kendra walked in minutes later, in white, her smile sharp, her confidence radiating. They sat, eyes locked, the room buzzing with unspoken heat. The moderator introduced the special, but everyone knew this wasn't about him. Rasheeda wasted no time. You wanted this spotlight so bad, Kendra, so let's talk. Why me? Why come for me? Kendra leaned forward, her voice calm but biting. Because you're the gatekeeper, and the gate been locked too long. I'm not here to play behind you. I'm here to take my place. Rasheeda laughed bitterly, shaking her head. Take your place. You don't take what you ain't earned. I earned my crown. I fought for it. I bled for it. You just walked in with your mouth loud and your pride bigger than your talent. Gasps echoed from the crew off camera. Kendra's eyes narrowed, her smile fading. Talent? Baby. Talent don't get you trending. Truth does, and I told the truth. You're old news. Rasheeda's hands slammed on the table, rattling the microphones. Her voice rose, sharp and trembling. You think I'm old news? You think I'm finished? I'm the reason this platform even exists. Without me, there wouldn't be a show. There wouldn't be fans. There wouldn't be you. The moderator tried to calm things down, but it was useless. Both women were on fire, their voices rising, their bodies leaning forward like they were ready to leap across the table. Kirk and Jock, sitting off stage, shifted uneasily, ready to jump in if it went too far. The stream's comments section exploded. Fans typed so fast the chat couldn't keep up. This is insane. Rasheeda not playing, Kendra holding her own though. Then came the moment that froze everyone. Kendra leaned in, her voice low but venomous. You know what hurts you most, Rasheeda? Not me. Not this show. It's that deep down, you know Kirk never respected you. And that's why you fight so hard to convince yourself you still matter. The room erupted in chaos. Rasheeda shot to her feet, her chair clattering backward. Kirk shouted off camera, "Don't do this." Security rushed in. The moderator panicked, and the live stream nearly cut to black before the feed steadied again. The last image millions saw that night was Rasheeda's face, eyes wet, jaw tight, her chest heaving, and Kendra smirking like she'd already won. Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok melted under the weight of the feud. Headlines screamed, Rasheeda storms out of live sit-down after brutal insult from Kendra. Is this the end of the Frost era? Kendra crowned new queen by fans after explosive special. But in her dressing room afterward, Rasheeda whispered to herself, she went too far. Now, I don't care about the cameras. I'm taking her down for real. And just like that, the feud crossed the final line. It was no longer just TV. It was personal, raw, and dangerous. And so, after weeks of chaos, insults, and explosions that none of us could have imagined, we're left with the biggest question of all: what happens next? The war between Rasheeda and Kendra has gone beyond TV cameras, beyond scripted drama, and into something raw, real, and unforgettable. Fans are still reeling from that sit-down special, replaying the moment when Rasheeda slammed the table and Kendra whispered those cutting words about Kirk. The family was left divided, the cast split into factions, and even production has been forced to stop and restart over and over again because the tension is simply too hot to contain. Emotions ran high, and for the first time, Atlanta feels like a city holding its breath, waiting for the next spark. But let's not forget, this feud isn't just about insults. It's about pride, survival, and legacy. Rasheeda has built her name through years of struggle, betrayal, and public humiliation, but she always came out standing. That strength is what her fans love her for. What makes them say she is the true queen of love and hip-hop, Atlanta. On the other side, Kendra has come into the spotlight hungry, determined to prove she's not just Jock's wife, not just another cast member, but a force to be reckoned with. Her boldness, her willingness to say the things others whisper, has made her a hero to a new wave of fans who see her as the unfiltered future of the franchise. And that's why this battle cut so deep. It's the future of the franchise. And that's why this battle cut so deep. It's not just two women throwing shade. It's two generations colliding, two crowns clashing on the same stage. Every time they face each other, the temperature rises. Every time their names are mentioned together, social media, the energy is electric, and you can feel the entire world tuning in, waiting for the next chapter. So where do we go from here? Will Rasheeda strike back harder than ever, proving that her legacy is untouchable? Or has Kendra already cemented herself as the new queen, too fearless and too bold to be stopped? Will Kirk and Jock be able to hold their families together? Or will this feud tear them apart for good? Will the producers manage to control the chaos? Or is this the season that finally burns everything to the ground? One thing's for sure, this story is far from over. Atlanta is buzzing. The fans are divided, and the drama has reached a level we've never seen before. And now, it's up to you. Whose side are you on? Do you believe Rasheeda still holds the crown? Or has Kendra taken it? Do you think this war will end in peace? Or will it only get uglier from here? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know if you're Team Rasheeda or Team Kendra. And while you're at it, smash that like button, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss the next shocking twist. Because if there's one thing we've learned, it's that in Atlanta, the drama never sleeps, and this feud is only just getting started. So get ready, because the next chapter could be the one that changes everything. Stay tuned, keep watching, and keep the conversation alive. Your opinion matters here, and we want to hear it. Is this the fall of a queen, or the rise of a new one? The world is watching, and so are we. And remember, this is Love and Hip Hop, where the drama is real, the emotions are raw, and the battles leave scars that don't fade overnight. Buckle up, because the ride isn't over yet.